We turn now to a story here in New York. Violent crime in busy midtown Manhattan is a fraction of what it used to be. So it was a real shock here yesterday when a man was shot and killed in broad daylight.
It happened outside a school just a few steps from Carnegie Hall, Central Park, and a major shopping district. As Terrell Brown reports, it all happened with no warning.
Witnesses describe the killing as a cold-blooded execution.
One loud shot. We were all standing right here, and we all scared to death. And then we looked down the block. We saw the guy on the floor.
At around 2 p.m. on Tuesday, this busy intersection in midtown Manhattan came to a standstill when the gunman, wearing a dark coat and hooded sweatshirt, came up behind 31-year-old Brandon Lincoln Woodard, who police say was visiting New York from Los Angeles. Investigators believe the gunman fired what appeared to be a silver semi-automatic pistol. The bullet struck Woodard in the head.
When I seen blood coming down the face, and he was laid out.
Delivery truck driver David Marambo was just steps away from the victim when the shooting occurred.
No, he wasn't dead right away. Like, he was still shaking, and that's when I called the cops.
After killing Woodard, the gunman calmly walked toward an awaiting getaway vehicle, got in, and drove off, quickly blending into the bustling New York City traffic. The area is teeming with tourists and is close to popular sites like Times Square and Central Park. In the chaos that followed, none of the witnesses were able to catch a glimpse of the killer.
No one's seen the person that did it. No, whoever did it was like, you know, he was a ghost.
Woodard was pronounced dead at a local hospital just minutes after the shooting. Police are now examining surveillance video and believe the shooting is the work of a professional. For CBS This Morning, Terrell Brown, New York.
Senior correspondent John Mills, a former NYPD deputy commissioner. Good morning.
Good morning, Charlie.
So what does the MO of this tell you?
Well, it tells us that somebody was working on this for a while. I mean, you have an individual, Brandon Lincoln Woodard, is walking down the street. He's a 31-year-old law student from Los Angeles. He's a graduate of Loyola. Now he's in their law school. He's texting on one device. He's got another phone. And as the killer walks up behind him, he actually glances back, and he sees the guy coming up behind him. So there's no recognition there. Now, the guy is wearing a black hooded hoodie, so he goes back to his texting. At that point, the killer closes the distance very quickly, puts the one shot in his head, and then, not running, walking very deliberately, goes another 20 yards, gets into a silver Lincoln MKZ. And this is the part that tells you these guys were pretty cool about it. They got stopped at the light, they stayed in traffic, they calmly made the right onto 7th Avenue and disappeared into midtown traffic. So this was probably not their first outing.
After 9/11, New York has changed a lot in terms of security cameras. How's that going to help in this investigation and about who this gunman is that it looked like he was carrying out a hit on this guy?
Well, it's helping already, but it could help enormously. So you've got two layers here. One, you've got the security cameras on the block, and these are just good cameras. They're not smart cameras, but they're there. So you see the actual murder on these video cameras. Wow. But because of the hood and the shadowing, you don't get a good image of the gunman's face. Now, they're working to find other cameras and enhance that. But the network that you're talking about is when they make that right turn, if somebody even got a partial plate, they can alert that network of NYPD security cameras and a network of cameras that have license plate recognition, and they can say, well, we can see where that car was before the murder. We can see where that car went after the murder, and that's part of what they're trying to put together now. So
is it likely they'll be able to identify the license plate?
Well, if they have a partial, they certainly have the make, year, and model of the car, so they already have a head start on trying to figure that out. So it's a possibility. But I think what you have here, Charlie, is this is a very interesting individual in terms of the victim. You've got a kid from Los Angeles who's in law school, but you've also got a 31-year-old man who has arrests for robbery, for drugs, for assault, who had a run-in with ushers, bodyguards during a concert in Las Vegas that resulted in an arrest, including him being charged.
So this leads to motive?
So once they have motive, that will very quickly probably lead detectives to the who. But knowing and proving is two different things. But it's certainly a brazen crime that attracted a lot of attention.
It's like CSIS John Miller here on CBS This Morning.
Yes.
It is, yeah.
He's the guy you want to have dinner with, isn't he?
Yes, exactly.
Thank you, John.